Hi, Theresa. It's Dara
And Donna.
from
Nice to
Modern
see
Mahjong, Facebook
you. Come on
Mahjong Community. Thank you. Just so everyone knows, we are inspired by the 73 fast questions from Vogue's YouTube series, and we appreciate you being the first in our 14 questions for Modern Mahjong.
Happy to be here.
Theresa, where are you joining us today?
I am in my new home in Anchorage, Alaska.
Interesting. How long have you been playing Mahjong, and why did you start?
I have been playing Mahjong about 17 years, and I started because my neighbor invited me over to teach me.
Very nice. So have you found Mahjong players in Anchorage, and how did you connect with them?
I connected with them through Mahjong Community and with the help of you guys at the local synagogue. They are still under a lot of COVID restrictions, but leaving a couple messages, they put me in touch with someone who still plays, and I've joined their group of 7, so I make their 8th, and we play every week together.
Will you be continuing to teach in Alaska?
Yes, I'm starting a new group of neighborhood moms this coming week.
That's awesome.
So what is your best piece of advice to beginning players?
Be patient. It clicks for everyone at different times. Some people take longer, some people get it right away, but eventually if you love the game, it'll all come together.
That's great advice. What's your best favorite strategy tip for advanced players?
Well, if you don't Maj, because no one likes to not Maj, there'll be another game in a few minutes.
That's true. Okay, so what are your favorites? Bakelite or Bone and Bamboo?
I love them all, but I do have a game set up for you guys to see that I could show you.
Perfect.
One of my favorite sets. It's Bakelite, but it's swirled Bakelite, so it's a little different.
Very cool. As you're walking there to show us, have you finished decorating your Mahjong room? And can you give us a little tour?
Yes, I am pretty much done. There's a couple things I'd like to do, but I haven't gotten full approval yet for those purchases. But the set I have on display is a Royal Game swirled Bakelite, complete with 152 tiles, obviously, paired with yellow swirled Bakelite racks. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I always like to have a pair of my favorite dice with each of my in there. This is a vintage Bakelite dice that has Maj Diva carved into it. Yeah.
Nice.
So, see, is there any more questions? I didn't count how many you were asking me.
No, we have more questions, but we'd love a tour of your Mahjong room.
Okay. The first thing I did was I framed some things I've had. One is a Judge magazine. One is the outside of the music lyrics. And the other one is I got this Yankee little man racks. You see the little man there? So this is the outside of the box that was totally destroyed, but this was saved. And you can see where the line is that I had to kind of glue together. But I went ahead and framed it because this was all that was left of the entire box of these put together racks. So I was glad to have it to frame it. And then I have a painting by Vincent Golshani. He is an artist out of Savannah, Georgia. That's very Asian inspired. And over here, I have a tapestry that I originally bought thinking I didn't read the description because I thought it was gonna be little and I could use it inside of a case to reline it. And it turned out to be huge. So I went ahead and hung it as decoration. And I have my favorite Mahjong teddy bear, and I have some snakes and a dragon my friend Deborah sent me from California. And it's just some of my more collectible pieces. I've got this gorgeous plate from Singapore that very good friends gave me. And I have a ivory chop that actually, the funny thing is Dee Gallo translated it for me, and it's McKinley, which is quite funny since Mount McKinley was the name of the mountain here that's now called Denali. So that was just fitting that I'm in Alaska and I have an ivory chop that is McKinley. And I've got a box of better wheels that were in sets, and I have a nice little tag. Some friends made me as a gift from Colorado. Kim Nelson, she's a lovely lady. And I have some mother of pearl gaming chips kind of scattered throughout my little items. This is one of my favorite things. This is a French ivory instruction little square, and it tells you how to play and the rules on the back.
Oh, wow.
I have a Mahjong lamp, and I've got some Mahjong sets down here with my favorite books. This one houses one of my ivory sets. This is a bone and ivory set that I have. This is a DeGallo set I have. French ivory. This is a fully carved bone and bamboo set. And I've got some dice here that I think you guys might remember. That's just a fun trip to New York City that I took with some very nice ladies. And it also comes in this little candy dish. I put all my little National Mahjong League tokens in there along with those dice, since it's all New York themed. And I have some very old books explaining the other ways of playing Mahjong. And then I have a closet here that's a disaster that I won't be opening. That's all the stuff I need to organize, but everything else is down in the room.
So,
Okay.
I mean, speaking of what's in the closet, what made you interested in collecting, refurbishing, and selling Mahjong sets like you do?
Oh, well, that's a little bit of a long story. I was asked to run a tournament to benefit the Junior League of Indian River, which is a nonprofit women's organization. And then I already started teaching some of the Junior League members to play Mahjong. So they asked me to run a tournament, and I thought, would it be novel to have as the first prize a vintage set? And I just fell in love with them, and I saw how creative it is to put them together and make them complete, and to clean them and organize them. I just kind of fell into it that way to benefit a women's charity, and it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. And I've learned a lot from people in on the Facebook groups on how to restore vintage sets, and everyone's quite kind, including Tony Watson, on how to restore sets, and as well as DeGallo and all the people that share their knowledge and impart that, and happy to answer questions like Catherine Hartman on what to do, what techniques have worked or not worked, and what to avoid. And it made my life a lot easier, but it's a joy to make a set playable for current rules.
That's wonderful. So if you had a choice, do you prefer 4-player Mahjong or Siamese?
Ooh, depends on how much gossip we want to talk about. 4-player, I prefer because that's how I learned. But Siamese is when you want to really talk to someone and have an in-depth conversation, and it's more intimate. Siamese is the way to go. But 4-player I love because you can just sit there and chill and let everyone else talk, and you can just focus on the tiles.
So, what is one thing people do not know about you?
Most people would think that I would prefer dessert over soup, but I would prefer soup over dessert any day.
Interesting. What are 3 things that you absolutely cannot live without?
Besides my husband and my children, Mahjong and popcorn, and probably maybe soup. That would be one.
How would you define yourself in 3 words?
Oh, forgiving, body, and kind.
Could you repeat forgiving?
Body.
Body.
Okay, that is what I thought you said.
Remember my dongle joke? If you guys watched, if
Yeah.
you knew dongle joke
Yes.
session when we were learning about stuff for MoshCon, I made a bad joke about that. So,
So that would have been your 13th tile, but considering it's your home and you're the hostess, you're East, so you get a 14th tile. So for number 14, can you describe MajCon and what will your role be at this conference?
MoshCon is a really fun event where everyone who loves anything about the game can go and meet other players from around the country and get to know just all these people that are just like you, that love the game and just different ways of playing it, because everyone has their little table rules. So it's interesting to learn that. My role is that I will be a speaker for 2 events and on a panel for a third. My 2 subjects are managing group dynamics and how to run a drop-in group. So I'll be discussing those. And on the panel, I think it's kind of like anything goes. People submit their questions and we try to answer them as best as possible with a panel of experts.
Well, that was great. Well, thank you for wrapping up our rapid fire questions. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Lots of fun. Thank you.
And
Bye,
we'll see
everyone.
you in October.